I don't know how we managed to make a story about rape into this. Why are we teaching little girls that they can fix ugly, lonely, bad, mean men? Hey girls, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I haven't posted a long form YouTube video in a while. It's been a long time coming, but it's you and me. That's my whole world. They whisper in the hallway, she's a bad, bad girl. Sorry. Also, don't mind, this is not a real fish. I am not using a real fish. Just going to use this as a disclaimer because people on Instagram somehow think that this is a real fish and they think I'm abusing fish or something. Someone even said that I'm objectifying the fish and I should put it back into the aquarium, and they were saying it seriously and not sarcastically. So, just a disclaimer, this is a fish. I am not objectifying the fish. It's just a cushion and it's not made out of real fish. So, I was just thinking about it, and we all grew up with these fairy tales. Our parents used to read us books, and Disney also had a lot of movies around these fairy tales. And I just thought, why not revisit them and read them from the lens of a therapist, feminist, and basically as an adult with more critical thinking. The stories that we read as children teach us about life. They teach us how relationships are formed. They teach us about norms regarding relationships. So it is quite deep. In case you think it is not that deep, I would suggest that you don't watch this video. Actually, you know what? Maybe you should watch it. Let me see if I can change your mind. We will start with Beauty and the Beast. I just found a random website with these fairy tales, and I'll try to cover three of them. I don't know how long this video is going to be. This is not scripted. I'm just going to naturally talk about my thoughts while reading the fairy tales. So let's start with Beauty and the Beast. Once upon a time, in a small village deep in a forest, there lived a kind young woman named Belle. She loved reading books, and everyone knew her for her warm heart and her beauty. Belle had dark hair like the night, eyes as deep as the ocean, and a spirit as free as a bird. Okay, that's nice. Belle lived with her father, Maurice, I don't know how to pronounce this. Who was an inventor. He made new gadgets and gizmos, and Belle loved listening to his stories and helping him with his experiments. Do we not have any information about the mother? Is she not important in the story? At least one line to explain why she doesn't exist. The villagers thought Belle was different because she loved books and dreamed of adventures, but Belle didn't mind. Why was Belle different? Because she loved books and dreamed of adventures. Belle was not like other girls, okay? She was different. She was cool. She was smart. She read books, unlike other girls who went to dilly dally in the gardens or something. I don't know what they were doing. I already feel like I can sense a little bit of misogyny in this because what is different about loving books and wanting to have adventures? Isn't that like basically every child? But let's not judge it too fast. One day, Morris, can we just call him Mohan? Okay. One day, Mohan set off on a journey to show his invention to another village. On the way, he got lost in the dark, scary forest. The wind howled and the trees seemed to whisper secrets. Mohan found a big, spooky castle and went inside to find shelter. Inside, he met the owner of the castle, a scary beast. The beast was once a handsome prince, but an enchantress had turned him into a beast because he was selfish and mean. To break the curse, someone had to love him despite his appearance. But wouldn't they have to love him apart from his appearance? I mean, he was also selfish and mean. So they would have to love him for his meanness, selfishness, and also ugliness. That's a little strange for a story for children. But let's read more. The beast locked Mohan in a dungeon for trespassing. Rightfully so. Mohan's horse, Philippe, ran back to the village to tell Belle what happened. Oh wow, the horse can talk. That's pretty cool. Belle bravely went to the castle to rescue her father. Wow, she's brave. She's going to rescue her father all by herself, and she's a kid. That's nice. When she found him in the dungeon, she offered to take his place as the beast's prisoner. The beast agreed and let Mohan go. And you're telling me that her father Mohan did not have any problem just sacrificing his daughter for a beast so that he could run away? And she literally went to rescue her father. What are they trying to tell us with this story? I will not be judgmental, I will read further. Belle stayed in the castle and found the beast was not only scary but also sad and lonely. She discovered a huge library and loved reading the books. Over time, Belle and the Beast talked, read, and shared stories. Belle learned about the curse and wanted to help break it. The Beast began to care for Belle's intelligence, beauty, and kindness. Why do they keep mentioning that she's beautiful? Meanwhile, Gaston, a boastful man from the village who wanted to marry Belle, made a plan to force her into marriage. He gathered the villagers and went to the castle where a big fight happened. I don't remember this part when I read the book as a child. Actually, maybe, I mean, I'm sure it was there and I just didn't pay attention because I was a kid. Also, I thought Belle was a kid. Was Belle a kid? Let me Google it. How old was Belle from Beauty and the Beast? Belle was 17 years old. She was a minor. So, a minor went to rescue her father, and then the father told her to become the prisoner of the beast, and he just went away. Okay. Um, let's move on. The beast, who loved Belle, fought to protect her. When Gaston's plan was revealed, the villagers turned against him. Belle's love for the beast and the beast's love for her broke the curse. The beast turned back into a handsome prince, and Belle's kindness was rewarded. Belle and the prince got married in a grand ceremony surrounded by the enchanted objects in the castle that had been freed from the curse. The villagers learned to appreciate Belle's unique abilities, and Belle and the prince lived happily ever after. So let me get this straight. Belle fell in love with a guy who was ugly, mean, lonely, and basically a beast. I'm not saying that, they are saying that. And she was kind, beautiful, intelligent, adventurous, and also very brave. I don't know, but it feels like there is a gap in the personalities of the two characters. Nowhere is it mentioned that the beast was nice to her or kind or loving. It almost sounds like she fell in love with him because he was lonely. Also, I'm not even sure if this was true love because she was his prisoner. And we're normalizing this and we're telling little girls this story. So basically, Belle was a people pleaser who wanted to please her father and then wanted to please the beast because it says Belle learned about the curse and wanted to help break it. But what did she get in this relationship from the beast? The beast who was literally holding her captive. Let's not forget the beast is an old man because, like, or at least a grown man because he owns that castle and kids don't own castles. So, this is a relationship or a marriage between a minor and a grown man, and we are showing this as romantic. Also, one more thing, the only other man in Belle's life was her father, who clearly was not a very good person because he literally left her and just ran away. I'm sorry, I can't get over the fact that her father just ran away after she came to rescue him and he never came back to like save her. I feel like this story is redefining the word kindness for girls because kindness doesn't mean that you accept anything and any abuse from people, especially from authority figures in your life. That doesn't mean you're kind. It means that you're letting people walk all over you. To me, it sounds like she thought that men are always like this and she's not going to get anything better than the beast, and that is why she fell in love with him. I don't even think it was love. If it was love, it was not healthy. I think it's because of stories like this that little girls grow up to have that feeling that I can fix him, and they end up stuck in these really bad abusive relationships with men who mistreat them. I don't like this story. Belle and the prince got married in a grand ceremony surrounded by the enchanted objects in the castle that had also been freed from the curse. The villagers learned to appreciate Belle's unique qualities. Unique qualities, you mean like reading books and being adventurous? And Belle and the prince lived happily ever after. The person who has posted the story has also added some like moral of the story at the end, and they've written, and so, my dear child, that is the end of the story of Beauty and the Beast. It teaches us that true beauty is inside us. But the prince, the beast, did not like Belle because she was ugly. Like, he did not have to like her in spite of her being ugly. She was apparently beautiful. So, how is this story teaching us that true beauty is inside us? It's only teaching us that for the girl, not the beast. Because Belle actually had to accept a beast who is apparently ugly, mean, and lonely, and he did not really have to accept her. In fact, he kidnapped her And she was beautiful, smart, cool. She was a baddie. And love and kindness can change even the hardest problems. But where did he show kindness and love? I feel like the only kindness and love that is being shown in this story is from Belle. But what about kindness and love towards her? What is she getting from this? An absent, rude father? A mean, lonely beast who kidnapped her and has now turned into a handsome prince? Now close your eyes and dream of a world full of magic and love. But this is not love. Why are we teaching little girls that they can fix ugly, lonely, bad, mean men and that they should accept men that are not the same level as them? Don't get me wrong, looks don't matter, but somehow they do matter. Because why is the story called Beauty? I don't think I like this story, and I don't think anyone should be reading this story to a child. It's a no from me. Let's move on to the next story, Sleeping Beauty. Once upon a time, in a land of magic, there lived a beautiful princess named Aurora. It sounds like Aurora, like the Hindi surname. She's also beautiful. Why are we continuously telling girls that they have to be beautiful? Or like, beautiful is a trait that princesses or good women have. She was known throughout the kingdom for her kindness, grace, and her heartwarming smile. Her hair was as golden as the sun, her eyes as blue as the sky, and her laughter as sweet as a songbird's. That's nice. Aurora's story began in a grand palace where she was born to a loving king and queen. Her arrival brought great joy to the kingdom, and the king and queen celebrated her birth with a big feast. That doesn't happen in India. In India, when girls are born, people are like, कोई नहीं, अगली बार लड़का होएगा. Not many people celebrate births where daughters are born. So it's nice to see that they are showing the birth of a girl child in a positive light. As the kingdom rejoiced, three good fairies, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather, gave their blessings to the little princess. That's cute. In case you're still watching this, comment fish because I don't know. Is anyone even watching this? Flora, with her red dress and magical wand, gave Aurora the gift of beauty. Again, why are we obsessed with the concept of beauty for girls? And why do we keep teaching little girls this? No wonder there is such a large beauty industry out there which earns so much money with their 27 skincare routine and also all the makeup that they sell us, the clothes that we wear. Okay, no, this is going on some other tangent. I'm not going to go on a rant about this. Beautiful shouldn't matter because it doesn't matter for men. No man is told that he has to be beautiful. But these stories are actually teaching little girls that beauty is important. Moving on. Fauna, in her green dress, gave her the gift of song. That's nice. They gave her a talent. Merryweather, in her blue dress, why are they telling me the colors of the dresses? But I guess it's fine. Maybe little children can imagine what the color of the dress is. Although in the previous story, they didn't really mention anything about clothes. Anyway, Merryweather in her blue dress wanted to give Aurora a gift too, but before she could finish, an evil sorceress named Maleficent appeared. Angry that she had not been invited to the celebration, she placed a curse on the young princess. Maleficent, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing this right. Maleficent? I think we should call this something else. Malika, we will call it Malika. Malika declared that on Aurora's 16th birthday, she would prick her finger on a spinning wheel spindle and fall into a deep sleep from which she could only be awakened by true love's kiss. The kingdom was filled with sadness, and the good fairies were determined to protect the princess from the curse. To keep Aurora safe, they took her to a hidden cottage in the woods where she was given a new name, Briar Rose. There, she lived a simple life with the fairies as her guardians, and she was told nothing of her true identity or the curse that hung over her. That's a little bit of an overreaction. Why did Malika get so offended that she wasn't invited to someone's birthday? Cursing someone for not being invited to a birthday is a little strange. Years passed and Aurora grew into a lovely young girl. She had a deep love for the forest and all its creatures. That's nice. I also have a deep love for the forest and the creatures. I love going for walks and looking at animals and birds. I'm obsessed with birds these days. I'm also holding a fish mic. Anyway, she would sing and dance with the animals, and they in turn became her dearest friends. That's really cute. I like that. It's teaching little kids to be in touch with nature, which is a great thing. On the eve of her 16th birthday, the fairies decided it was time to tell Aurora the truth. They took her back to the palace where her heartwarming smile and her beauty made everyone happy. Her beauty. The word beauty is rage baiting me currently. Why are there no fairy tales where boys are told that they have to be handsome? In fact, in Beauty and the Beast, they're actually teaching little boys that women will accept them even if they're ugly. And we can see that in real life too, because boys don't put makeup, they're not sold any makeup, and they don't really care that much about beauty. If you think about it, they don't wax their arms, they don't even thread their eyebrows. A lot of them have a unibrow and nobody seems to mind. But if a woman did that, anyway, it's also evident in our weddings. If you notice the bride and the groom, the bride always looks way more intense than the groom, because that's the norm. The norm is for men to not have to look beautiful and they can just be functional and simple, while women have to look beautiful and they have to do a lot of things to look beautiful. But as the evening wore on, Aurora was drawn to an old spinning wheel she found in a dark hidden room. Okay. Despite the fairy's warning, she pricked her finger on the spindle and fell into a deep enchanted sleep, just as Malika had said. The king and queen, filled with sadness, placed Aurora on a bed of flowers and cried for their beloved daughter. The good fairies knew that Aurora could only be awakened by true love's kiss, and they set out to find the prince who could break the curse. See, this is where I start feeling weird. What is true love's kiss? Prince Philip, a brave and kind young man, notice how they're not calling him handsome or beautiful. The traits that he's appreciated for are things that have nothing to do with his looks. Was the one who had met Aurora in the forest and fallen in love with her as Briar Rose. Wait, when did he meet her? I don't think this is mentioned anywhere. Anyway, with the fairy's help, Prince Philip battled through thorns, defeated Malika in her fearsome dragon form, and reached Aurora's side. With a gentle kiss, he awakened the princess from her deep sleep, and her eyes sparkled with love as she looked at the prince. Was she able to give consent? Now, I really wonder, are we teaching little girls that, and little boys, that kissing a person who is unable to give consent is okay? Again, I can't help but think about the fact that a lot of guys take advantage of girls when they're drunk, which is almost like sleeping, and they do non consensually touch them. In fact, there are a lot of drugs that these boys put in drinks of girls so that they become unconscious. I wonder how much of that is shaped by this story that they were taught as a kid. This is a very strange story to tell kids. Also, did you know that the original story wasn't this? The original story was actually that the prince raped Aurora and she got pregnant while being asleep and gave birth to twins while being asleep, and one of the twins wanted to drink her milk, like be breastfed, and it sucked on her finger and the needle came out, and that's how she was awakened. I don't know how we managed to make a story about rape into this. So you can't even tell me that him kissing her while she's asleep is not non-consensual and that it's romantic, because it's literally coming from a story about rape. This is non-consensual touching. She is asleep, she cannot give consent. There was no need to make a fairy tale where the only way you can wake up the girl is by kissing her when she's asleep. There are so many other ways you can tell different stories and use your imagination. Not everything has to be like this. The kingdom rejoiced, and Aurora and Prince Philip were married in a grand and joyous ceremony. But did she love him? How did she love him if she didn't even know him? They said it's true love, but how is it true love if she doesn't even know who he is? What? So they just kissed and suddenly they fell in love. This sounds like arranged marriage. The kingdom rejoiced, and Aurora and Prince Philip were married in a grand and joyous ceremony. The prince had proven that true love could conquer any curse, and the two of them ruled the kingdom with kindness and grace. See, even here, they're like the prince had proven that true love could conquer any curse, which means that he had true love for her. But did she have any true love for him? Why do all of these fairy tales end with them getting married in a grand and joyous ceremony? I mean, no, nothing wrong with that, but there are so many other endings stories could have. Often, children's stories where the main character is a boy are about adventure, about having fun, about going out, seeing the world. But for some reason, where the main character is a girl, it always ends up with the happily ever after being shown as marriage. No wonder most girls think that that is the extent of the dreams that they can have, because their parents tell them it is. But boys don't. Why are we telling little kids stories like this. I want to know, what were our parents thinking? Did they not think this was weird? Or maybe they were from the it's not that deep gang. I wish we taught little girls that marriage is just a part of their life and it's not the happily ever after, it's just a thing in your life. That there's more to your life, that you can have a career, have hobbies, have a personality apart from being a wife. Because that's what boys are told. I'm not making this up. You can read stories where main characters are boys. They're all about strength and bravery, and stories for girls are about beauty and marriage and love. Now I'm sad. I thought I'll get angry, but I'm actually sad. What are we doing to little girls? We're literally brainwashing them as soon as they're born, when they're little kids. Anyway, let's move on to the next story, which is Rapunzel. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a young girl named Rapunzel. She was known throughout the kingdom for her long golden hair, which flowed like a waterfall down the tall tower she lived in. Again, it's about looks. Why can't she be known as a cool, strong girl who is brave, who has nice hobbies like, I don't know, kickboxing? Why is it always about her beauty? I have never read a story for children where the main character is a boy and it's about his beauty or about his hair. Anyway, Rapunzel's story began many years ago when she was just a baby. Her parents, the king and the queen, were filled with joy when she was born. Another interesting thing to note is that all of these stories, like from a class perspective, they're all about kings and queens and princesses. But what about the common people? This is a very interesting take that I never thought about. We're essentially only learning about rich people. But I guess it's okay because little kids will grow up to aspire to be rich and, like, wealthy and successful. But not everyone is a prince and a princess and a king and a queen. What about the common people? Are there no stories about them which are worth telling? Maybe it's just the stories that I've picked. I don't know. Her parents, the king and the queen, were filled with joy when she was born. Yay! They were joyous when a girl child was born. A win is a win. But one day, a lonely and selfish witch appeared. She took the child away and named her Rapunzel after the plant her mother had once enjoyed eating. The witch feared losing Rapunzel and wanted her all to herself. But why was the witch lonely? Also, interesting, they're making it sound like this witch is a really bad person, and lonely is a term that is used to describe her in a negative way. But in Beauty and the beast was described as lonely, but that was more like, oh, bechara, it's so sad, we should love him and make him feel better. Interesting how the word lonely can take different forms when it comes to gender. I actually feel kind of bad for this witch. Why was she lonely? She was so lonely that she kidnapped another person's child. The witch raised Rapunzel in a tall tower deep in the forest. The tower had no door and no stairs, only a single window at the top. Whenever the witch wanted to visit, she would stand below and call out, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair. Rapunzel would lower her long golden hair and the witch would climb up. As the years passed, Rapunzel grew into a kind and gentle young woman. Note that it says kind and gentle, it never says strong. So, when it comes to traits related to girls, they often use the word kind. Like this was there in the previous story also, I think. In fact, I think it was in all the stories. They always seem to describe the women as kind. They're never brave and strong. She was isolated from the world and had never seen another human being besides the witch. Still, she filled her days with joy. She read books, painted pictures, and sang songs that echoed through the forest. That's nice. Forest animals often visited her, and she named them all: Whiskers the rabbit, Feather the bluebird, and Fluffy the squirrel. They were her closest friends. That's really cute. Again, I really like that they're teaching kids to be in touch with nature. In a neighboring kingdom lived a brave and kind hearted prince. He had heard whispers of a girl with magical golden hair locked away in a tower. Curious and hopeful, he set out to find her. Why is he hopeful? Because of her golden hair? So you're telling me a random dude is just like vibing and someone tells him, yo, there is a girl with long magical golden hair in a tower. And he's like, yes, I'm going to go find her. I am hopeful and curious about this. What is he hopeful about? Maybe he wants magic in his own life. That's what I'd like to think. One day, while riding through the forest on his white horse, he heard a sweet, beautiful song floating through the trees. The voice pulled him closer and closer until he stood beneath Rapunzel's tower. Rapunzel had never seen a prince before. She had never seen anyone before, apart from the witch. When she looked down and saw him, her heart fluttered with excitement. Yeah, no shit. She had never seen a guy before, and clearly she was heterosexual. So, her golden hair tumbled from the window like a shining rope. The prince was amazed not only by her beauty but the warmth in her voice. Again, her beauty. Who are you? He called. I'm Rapunzel, she replied. I've lived in this tower for as long as I can remember. Who are you and why have you come here? The prince introduced himself and told her about the stories he had heard. Rapunzel felt both nervous and happy. Talking to someone new made her feel brave for the first time. Finally, they're calling her brave. That's nice. Day after day, the prince returned. They shared stories, laughed, and dreamt of the world beyond the tower. That's nice. They're showing that they got into a friendship, at least. Like, they got to know each other. That's quite different compared to Beauty and the Beast and Sleeping Beauty, where both of them were just essentially non consensually married off to the guy. Although, as a side note, she had never really met anyone else in her life, so he could actually be a horrible partner and she wouldn't know because she doesn't know what other men are like or other people are like. So, I'm not sure if this is actually as good as I thought. The prince loved Rapunzel's kindness, her songs, and the hopeful way she talked about life. Before long, they realized they cared deeply for one another. That's nice, but what did she like about him? Is there no information about that? Together, they made a plan to escape. Each visit, the prince brought a piece of silk, and Rapunzel carefully wove them into a ladder. But one day Rapunzel made a mistake. Without realizing, she said to the witch, "Why are you so much heavier to pull up than the prince?" Ooh. The witch's eyes flashed with anger. Furious and afraid of losing Rapunzel, she cut off Rapunzel's long hair and sent her far away to live alone in the wild. That evening, when the prince came to visit, the witch lowered Rapunzel's cut hair from the tower. I really don't remember this story, so I'm actually quite locked into this. I want to know what happens. When he climbed up, he was shocked to see the witch instead of Rapunzel. Startled, he fell from the tower into a bed of sharp thorns. The thorns scratched his eyes and he became blind. That's a little gory for children, isn't it? Like, that paints a pretty weird, gory picture. Heartbroken, the prince wandered the land for years, calling Rapunzel's name but never finding her. That's sad. One day, as he walked through a distant forest, he heard a familiar song. It was Rapunzel. She had survived on her own, never giving up hope. That's nice. That tells us that she was strong. I like this. The prince followed the sound of her voice until they stood face to face once more. Rapunzel recognized him instantly and cried tears of joy. As her tears touched his eyes, a miracle happened. His sight was restored. That's a little unrealistic, but it's fine. It's a children's story. It can have magic in it. Together, Rapunzel and the prince returned to his kingdom. They lived happily ever after, far away from the wicked witch. But what happened to the witch? She was lonely and sad, but then what happened to her? I want to know about that too, because some of us are not princesses, some of us are witches, so I'd like to know what happens to the witches as well. Their love was celebrated for generations and the story was told again and again. This one is not that bad, except the only thing that was weird, or like, is just generally I've noticed a pattern that they often show women being the bad character in these fairy tales. I think that happens in Snow White also. I might review Snow White if you like this video. Let me know. I will review more fairy tales. You can even tell me which fairy tales you want me to react to. But even in that, the villain character was a woman, which is funny because when we are growing up as girls, we are taught that men are the villains in our life. We have to protect ourselves from men, not women. So I wonder why they're trying to show that women are the villains in these stories when the reality is very different. I mean, shouldn't it be both kinds? Also, another thing to note is that I was thinking about it the other day. The word witch, okay, like there, the male equivalent of that is what? Wizard. But isn't that a positive word? Like, witch is a negative word. So what is the male equivalent of a witch? And also, what is the female equivalent of a wizard? Or is it that when a woman has magic in her hands, she is seen as a bad person, also known as a witch? But when a man has the same magic in his hands, he's seen as the wizard, and that's a positive thing. So having magic in my hands makes me a witch, but if a guy had magic in his hands, he is not a witch and he's a wizard. Something to think about. So overall, I don't know what I think about the fairy tales that we read growing up. I think they're quite problematic. Like, Rapunzel was also, it was okay. It was not that bad. Sleeping Beauty and Beauty and the Beast were like both quite problematic, and also they have the word beauty in them, which is a little odd in my opinion. I don't think we should teach little girls that beauty is so important, because there's so much to life than just beauty. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts were on these fairy tales and also any other fairy tales that you've read. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.